My name's Angela Davis, and I'm the Forum Quilter, and it's 4 days until Halloween, so I have a couple Halloween treats for you. The first one is Ghost and Bat, and the second one is Ghost Treat Bag. So make a little ghost treat bag for your favorite person, your neighbor's child, your grandchild, your child, a niece, a nephew. And then this, what inspired me was I was looking through my patterns from last year, and I pulled out my ghost pattern from a video that I did last year. And I said, what else can I do with that ghost pattern? And I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a wall hanging, but what else can I do to it? And I thought, what about a bat? So today we're going to be watching how to create the bat and the ghost. I don't have a video for you for the bag, but that I'm going to explain to you how to put the bag together. And once you watch how to do the ghost in the wall hanging, you'll know how to apply the ghost on the bag.
First, I cut out my pattern for my ghost, and once that was finished, I laid the pattern down on the wrong side of the fusible interfacing and traced the ghost. To lay out your pieces, you lay the batting down first, then you lay the fabric right side up, and then you lay the fusible interfacing right side down, which is the bumpy side, so that the wrong side is facing up. I'm stitching directly on the line, and when the curves come up, I'm positioning my left hand so that I can turn the piece smoothly. Next, I trimmed the backing, the front, and the batting all the way around approximately 1/16 of an inch. The smaller that seam allowance is, the easier it is to turn. Next, it was time to turn everything right side out. And you just put a slit inside the interfacing only. And you can see here where I'm pulling the interfacing away from the batting and the front fabric. And I'm making a slit so that I can do a nice turn. I took my scissors and I clipped along the inside curves so that when it turns smoothly. Gently turn out the seam with your fingers until it's pretty smooth. You can use a tool with a blunt end to push out the seam, and this will make it nice and smooth and flat. Just be gentle with it. Once you're finished turning the ghost, it's time to position it on the background fabric and press. Use the instructions that came with your fusible interfacing so you know what temperature to set your iron on. Once the ghost is ironed down, then you can iron the eyes down.
I used a thread that is clear, and you can get this at your favorite sewing store. This one is called Invisible. Oftentimes you'll find it called monofilament thread. So basically it's an applique thread, and you use this on the top stitch only. And what this does is, as you're appliquing, you don't have to continue to switch out your top thread according to what you're appliquing to your fabric. So it's a smooth sewing process. When you're appliquing, you don't need to stop and start every time you switch to a different applique that's a different color. Big advantage to using this. And this is, I got this at Joann's, Gutterman, and I was happy with how it worked. And so it really helped with the transition between applying the ghost and then applying the black eyes. I didn't have to switch between white thread and then black thread. It was a very smooth transition as far as sewing goes.
When appliquing the ghost to the background, I used a small zigzag stitch, and I just went slowly, and as I came to a curve, I just turned it gradually to make sure that I catch the edge of the fabric on the ghost.
The one thing that you want to do when you're creating your ghost, when you're sewing fusible interfacing, the one thing you want to do that helps you move the fabric under the feed dogs is you want to lower your tension, your presser foot tension. So my machine, I have the ability to lower the tension or higher the tension on my presser foot. So when I higher the tension, that means here's the bottom of my machine, here's my presser foot. And what I did was I highered the tension so that it wouldn't be pressed as firmly down. I highered it so that it was up just a little bit. And in doing so, I can move the fabric underneath the machine as I'm doing those curves a little more smoothly. The other thing that I did was I lowered my stitch length so that as I was going around these curves, it makes a smoother transition. So those are my 2 tips when using the interfacing method of applique. The other thing that you'll notice is I used a straw, and the straw is very helpful when you're doing small pieces. I inserted the straw into the piece, and then I used my plastic stiletto to insert the fabric into the straw. And this way you have something to grab onto, because when you're dealing with small pieces as the eyes, it can be very difficult. You just have to take your time. And the more you work on small pieces, the faster you get at it. The first times I did that using the straw, I thought, oh wow, this is, my fingers are too big, the piece is too small. But as you develop that skill, using the straw method, you'll get faster at it. And it really is a helpful tool. And I didn't buy that straw anywhere special. I took a straw from a fast food restaurant from a drink that I ordered. I washed it out and I put it with my sewing tools. Don't need anything special. As far as going out and buying a special straw, it's not. It's just a regular straw that you get with a drink when you order a drink out somewhere. So those are my little tips for machine appliquing using the interfacing method. Now, the bat, what I did was I thought, well, what would make the ears? And I thought, well, of course, half square triangles. And then I thought, well, what will make the bat's wings? Half square triangles. And then the body is one large triangle, a rectangle. And the body is one rectangle, and then on the end, I put in 2 white corners to give it that curve. Very simple to do. But I did have to do a little bit of adjusting here. I had to take it in just a little bit, just a hair, to make this bottom row fit the top row. Sometimes when I'm creating a pattern for myself, it gets a little off depending on my sewing and my stitching, how accurate I'm being with my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I want to talk about the treat bag. And I thought, what else could I make with that ghost? Halloween treat bag. I mean, really. There's a lot of room in there for your little friend, your little grandchild, your little niece, your little nephew. The bag, when I cut it, I think I cut it 13 inches wide by 25 inches long. It's one rectangle that eventually I folded in half, okay? But before I created the actual bag, once I had the large rectangle, the first thing I did was I put the top hem in. And the top hem is just a double fold hem. And then I zigzagged the inside seam allowance so that it wouldn't fray. And then I folded it so that I could get an idea of where I want my applique piece to be. I appliqued my ghost to the front. I created my handles, and the handles are, I believe they're 18 inches long, and I cut them 3 inches wide, and I folded them in on itself, and I just stitched. I applied the handles first before sewing the final seam. It makes it easier managing sewing it under your machine when you're not dealing with the bag itself with this much space. Whereas when you're applying the handles, before you sew up the side seams, it lays flat. So it's much easier to handle on your machine. Very easy, very easy. And again, I used machine applique, only this time I used a straight stitch along the edge instead of a zigzag. But I did zigzag the eyes because I felt that that made it a little more fun. So there you have it, a little treat bag. And that took literally an hour. You can make up one, you can make up two, you can make up a dozen and pass them out Halloween. So they have them for next year too. Reusable treat bag. Stay to the end because I'm going to give you a sneak peek of my next video. Enjoy.
When making the eyes, I simply traced the circles onto the interfacing, and then I layered the interfacing right side together with the fabric and stitched directly on the line. And then I trimmed the circles, snipped a tiny little slit in the interfacing, and then proceeded to turn them right side out. You'll notice when doing the circles for the eyes, I turned the fabric and the fusible interfacing in a continuous turn as I stitched to make it a nice smooth process. For the bat, I arranged my shapes according to how I would sew them. My top row is the row that has the ears, the middle row is the body of the bat, and the bottom row is the bottom wings. On the white and the black squares, I drew a line diagonally. I will be sewing a 1/4 inch on each side to create 2 half square triangles. I made a flying geese unit to make the bat's ears. I had a white rectangle and I applied 2 black squares on both ends to create the bat ears. After I made the flying geese unit, I added 2 white background rectangles to complete the top row.
Well, did you enjoy the video? I hope you did, because I enjoyed making it. It is Monday, and Halloween is on Thursday, so I'm hoping this uploads by the end of the day. I've been doing some things to aid in the upload process of my videos to make it much more streamlined and a little bit faster, so I'm hoping I get this out by the end of the day so that you can enjoy it. This did not take long. I would say this took me one afternoon, but I was creating it from scratch, so I had to do my calculations as well. Had a lot of fun with it. Did not take long, and it was very enjoyable. This took like an hour and a half. So, do you want a little sneak peek for the next video? First of all, let me say double Irish chain. I thought, what could I make that's holiday-ish, but not necessarily Christmas, that will get me through the holidays all the way through the end of winter? Snowflakes. This is block A of the double Irish chain, and this is block B of the double Irish chain. Hope you enjoyed the video. You know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe so you don't miss another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a regular viewer, thank you so much for all of your support. It's much appreciated. Have a great week. Enjoy your Halloween. Please stay safe that night. Have fun. And as always, remember, why sleep when you can sew? I'm Angela Davis, and I'm the Flooring Quilter. Bye.